Welcome to our next edition of the RPO College Football Podcast. I'm your host, Ron Jones, and you already know my partner in crime, my guy, the man, the myth, the legend. You already know who he is, Mr. Ray Roberts. How you doing, sir?
I'm good, Jerome. How are you?
I'm good, man. Good. I'm glad to be back with you, talking some college football draft. So, on all season, like I always say, we always talk about the NFL draft. And today we'll be talking about offensive linemen. But before we start, Ray, there have been some about, some of the pro days and stuff like that. Anything kind of stand out to what you've been seeing or hearing about some of the pro days so far?
Not really. Just everybody's kind of doing what I thought they would do.
Yeah. No, and I agree. It's just been like steady news. There hasn't been anything like anybody like moving out of position that I think so far, which is usually happens around this time. I think right after the combine, people kind of move up and down a little bit more. I haven't really seen that. Are you surprised by that, right?
I'm a little surprised, but I have seen some guys move up and down a little bit depending on what the combines have said. Has Alabama had their pro day yet?
Alabama have not. I believe it's tomorrow, actually.
I thought it was coming up soon too. That's the one. So I want to see how the quarterback throws the ball.
100%. Yeah, today was Ohio State. Big things about Ojigba today. Obviously Stroud, who's throwing it to these guys, and they're already talking about Marvin Harrison Jr. They talk about they scout him already. So he might be a big prospect coming out next year. Depending on how quarterback play does, that does affect the wide receiver. So we'll see how that goes.
Not that it really affects us, but I did hear Cam Newton did some throwing at Auburn today or yesterday.
He did yesterday. That was yesterday. Yes. Yeah. So Cam Newton did some throwing. People seem like they was impressed by it. I'm going to be honest. It didn't really impress me too much. He's throwing a little high to me. I love Cam Newton. I love for him to go back into the league. I got to meet him last summer. Hopefully I get to go to his 707 again this year. But it wasn't the most impressive. Again, I'm rooting wholeheartedly for him. One of my favorite guys, and that was in the league. And I felt like he got a little short end of the stick, not really getting a real chance after Carolina. But yeah. I mean, hey man, I hope somebody do think he's doing great over there. So today was Ohio State. Tomorrow is Alabama, which we'll see some Will Anderson news as well. Some DBs like Burton Battle, who's supposed to be a higher draft pick as well. So I think he should be playing because he's supposed to be at the Senior Bowl. He didn't play at the Senior Bowl. I think he had an injury, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll see what happens with that. Sorry, I got something in my eye. And then Saturday should be Will Levis with the Kentucky. So we got a couple of top quarterbacks about to do some pro days soon this next few days. So it's gonna be interesting. I'm sorry, Fridays. Got my days all mixed up right now.
Yeah.
So yeah. Any of those pro days kind of excite you though?
No, I mean I'm a little. We haven't gotten into quarterbacks that much, except for when we did our analysis. I am scared to death of Will Levis, man.
A lot of people are.
I'm afraid of him, man. I am. So I probably would not draft him if I was.
Draft him at all?
Not with a first round pick, no.
Okay. He's scaring me. He's draftable. He's definitely draftable. It just
definitely has talent.
What are you willing to work with, And it depends on the team.
His athleticism is there. Mm-hmm. His arm is fine.
Yeah.
His processing is not fast enough, I don't believe. Mm-hmm. And I just worry about his footwork. I worry about everything about him, to be honest with you. I just don't. I mean, there's definitely talent there. There's no question about that. But I mean, that's college football. There's talent in every college football player.
100%. But we had this conversation before, where I think that I'm not defending Will Levis not necessarily haters, but people that are down on Will Levis, not sure about how his play is going to be. But to be fair too, he was playing with very, very little. And I know that when you playing with very little, you start playing hero ball. And when you start playing hero ball, like all your fundamentals and all that kind of goes out the window, and you're just trying to win games. So that could be.
Yeah, I know. I got you. I mean, I think that's kind of what happened to Justin Herbert.
Right.
That he tried to do a little bit too much his last year in college, and it just didn't work out for him.
Yeah. And when he went to the Senior Bowl, he looked really well at the Senior Bowl, and then got that number 1 pick. Been doing great stuff since. So, I mean, we never know. It could be that. It could be maybe he's just not there yet, and it does happen. Sometimes some guys need to just play behind people or play behind someone to kind of develop too. So we'll see.
That's the one thing I would say. Drafting players now that is way different than when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
You never expected rookies to play right away when I was younger.
Correct.
Almost
now it's expected. Now it's almost expected.
Almost never.
I agree.
Unless they were like special players like a Barry Sanders or Earl Campbell, a running back.
Yeah.
Those guys, sometimes you can get nice production from them their first year or two.
Mm-hmm.
But quarterbacks always sat for a year or two, if not 3. Always when I was younger. Always.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting.
But I mean, I do understand what the money they're paying these guys now, that they feel like they need to get them out on the field.
Oh, yeah.
If you
get that contract, that very small contract, and get as much out of them as possible within 4 years before they have to pay them, because
correct,
this quarterback market is insane.
It's not insane; it's ridiculous. But
yeah.
If I were running the league, it wouldn't be the way it is.
Yeah. Well, if a lot of us run the league would definitely wouldn't be the same.
Well, I understand that their agents are doing their job, getting the most money for their players and everything. But I've had this conversation with you before, Jerome. Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in football. You could argue with me. You could debate it with me. It's no problem. To me, he's the best quarterback in football. Everybody makes less than him. Period.
Oh, I agree. Well, going from the quarterbacks and the best quarterbacks of the league to the guys that's going to be protecting them, we're going to go to our offensive linemen. And last week we did tackles. Today we're doing that would include offensive and centers. So let's get right into it. Our top 5. Ray, let's have you start off with your guy. Who you got at number 5?
I do have like a 5A, 5B type thing, but I'll go through them quick because they're both centers. Luke Whippler is 5B from Ohio State, 6'3", 300 pounds. And I have Joe Tippmann from Wisconsin, 6'3", 312 pounds. Both I see as like third, early day 2 guys, third round. I mean, but I just don't. Center is a valuable position now because they do so much of calling the line fronts and where the blitzes are coming from and all that. But I mean, it's hard because centers do not get a lot of love. So
correct. Yeah, I agree. Centers do not get a love, but I feel like they are the best centers out there. So I think
they are.
Yeah,
I mean, I have one that's rated a little bit higher than them too, but
yeah. So I agree with you. I actually have a guard at 5 and a center over him, one of the 2 that you mentioned. So we'll get into that in a second. But my number 5 guy is going to be Steve Avila. Yes. Steve Avila from Texas Christian University. It's a TCU team that beat my team, of course. So now I'm not bitter about that anymore. But no, he's a real solid guard. Played really well. He's at he is 332 pounds and 6'3" and a half, with 30-inch arms. Smaller slice arms. Obviously, that's why he plays guard. I think he got a good anchor to him. He's going to be really good for. I think he's going to be good for the like a good gap scheme type of offense. But I think he's a guy that you can pretty much get in like like you said, third or fourth round. He's gonna be a solid guy for you. Kind of what's his name? Isaac Salamala, like where you probably get some good starting minutes out of him. I think he's gonna be a good guy. What do you think about him, Ray?
I like Avila. I think he's a good physical guy. I think he's in a running scheme. I think he could be a really plus player for sure. So
exactly. All right, number 4 for you, Ray. Who you got?
I have Steve Avila from TCU before. So I like Avila. I do think that he wants to. You want to play him in a run scheme first.
Correct.
I don't know about his pass protection. I just know about that. I see him manhandling guys up front. So that's what. If you watch his game, TCU's game film against Michigan, he had his way against Michigan's defensive line. Man, he really did.
Yeah, he did.
And Michigan has a good defensive line. It's not like they have their own players. They do. And Avila really did a nice job in that game. So
correct. No, I agree. And to flip flop what you had, Ray, I got Joe Tippmann at number 4. Just like him slightly higher. I like his game. Smaller arm guy. He got 32-inch arms, but he is a whopping 6'6". He is only 313, which is a little thin for a taller guy, but being at center, I think that'd be perfect for him. I like his flexibility, and I think he got great upside. I think he's one of those older guys, and he can definitely be a defender guy for you as well.
What I like about him is for a guy who is 6'6", he has great pad level, man.
Yeah, he does.
He gets down there and he moves guys around, and again, a little bit shorter arms.
Yeah,
which is why you got to play at center.
Correct. Yeah, 100%. And it's weird for me to say 6'6" guy at center because I'm an Eagles fan, so I'm not used to really tall centers. But being Jason Kelsey being my guy, but I mean, yeah, you can work with a big center and still be successful in the NFL. So I like it. Yeah. All right, number 3, right? Who you got?
Jared Peterson from Notre Dame. I think he's a guy that can play. Actually, I think he can line up at center and guard for you, which makes him very versatile. He actually played some tackle at Notre Dame.
Yeah, he did.
Good functional athlete, good strong kid, smart kid. I think that he kind of checks all the boxes. I like Jared Patterson a lot. So,
wow, Ray. I will say this: I have him in a different category, but he's not in my top 5 for a reason.
Okay.
But we'll talk about him later. We'll talk about it later. My number 3 guy is going to be, and I think you got him obviously much higher, Ray. Cody Munch from South Dakota. Is it South Dakota or North Dakota? Let's get that wrong. North Dakota, yeah. Yep. North Dakota State. Really good guy. I think he's going to be a very good anchor as a guard for a lot of teams. And at 6'5", 302 pounds. Again, kind of shorter arms, 32 inches. So, obviously he should be playing guard. But he's a pretty fast guy, man. 29 reps. He was 5:08 on the 40-yard dash. So I think he's gonna be really good. And he's one of those road grader guys. I was again run the scheme kind of guy. But I like him a lot. What do you think, Ray?
I actually have him as a tackle, but I like Cody Muck a lot. So
okay, yeah. We did mention him last week when you had him on tackle. All right, awesome, man. Who got at number 2, Ray?
I have John Michael Schmidt from Minnesota. Again, a big.
You're on the same page with that one, Ray.
There you go. 6'4", 320 pounds. Good football player, smart player. Plays center, but again, I just think like a guy who run blocks very well, picks up the blitz very well, smart kid. I like this group of linemen. So
correct. I think Ray, the only big knock I have on him is why I think I have him at 2 instead of 1, even though my number 1, I still think he should be number 1. But John Michael Schmidt is going to be 24 getting drafted. So he's kind of older, which is not bad. I mean, linemen usually play long for a pretty long time. So that's not a huge issue for me for its age. but you kind of want to go younger when you're doing a draft. So, but his talent is really high. Okay, right.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. I do agree that he is going to be 24. I think the COVID thing kind of like messed everybody up.
Oh yeah,
everybody's going to get extra time out of that. So I mean, again, if he were a skill player, I'd be more worried about it than that because linemen tend to play long, like have long careers anyway, unless they're involved. So
correct. All right. Well, I guess you have the same number one as well. Go ahead, Ray.
O'Cyrus Torrence from Florida.
Yeah.
A massive guy for a guard, and he does play guard. I've seen him play some tackle. He's a big 6'5", 335-pound kid. He could be taking the end of first round, but I see him more as a second-round talent. I do. And interior line, they tend to go a little later than other guys anyway. So, I have seen him drafted like in some mock drafts where he goes like at the end of the first round, though.
Yeah, he just feels like a Chief kind of guy. He just kind of do.
He does. I think that a team like Buffalo could use an interior offensive lineman that is a road grader. Buffalo is one of the teams that I've seen where they have taken him. I think he would be a perfect fit for the Bills. I think I hear the Bills are trying to get DeAndre Hopkins. Why? You need to balance your offense, Buffalo. You got a guy throwing the ball 60 times a game, and then you wonder why he's banged up at the end of the year. No, man, you need to run the ball a little more. But again, you're in my division. Whatever floats your boat.
Ooh, them getting D Hop. I didn't even hear that rumor, man. That's breaking news to me, Ray. But that'd be insane if they got him. That'd be crazy. Him and
the word is Buffalo, New York Giants. I know you're not happy about that one.
I mean, for a while it was the Dallas Cowboys, and then they got Cooks, and I was like, oh yeah, go ahead. Want to know something funny? I said they got Dallas got Cook, and I was like, yeah, resign Michael Jenkins. Okay.
Yeah.
If you remember that hit in the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
That was on him.
I remember. It's funny, we were talking about Cam Newton earlier, and the first thing I remember about Cam Newton is
the fumble.
Not going after that fumble in the Super Bowl, man.
I know. You always mention it. I know. Very talented guy, though. He's very talented. I mean, I think he has the most touchdowns by quarterback.
What's that?
I'm not mistaken. I think he got the most rushing touchdowns by quarterback.
It's possible.
I'm pretty sure. All right, Ray. So that will do it for our top 5 interior linemen. Like we said, we really like Terrence. So I'm glad that we had the same top 2 guys. All right, let's get to our sleepers, Ray. So sleeper guys in the draft, obviously, like we talk about, these are guys that may not be getting all the hype, may not be in our top 10, but we really think there's going to be really good guys to get drafted late in the rounds. Ray, I'll let you start off.
Well, I have 3 of them. I'm going to go through them pretty quickly.
I got 2, so it's not too bad.
So I got Antonio Maffei from UCLA, 6'4", 350 pounds of Antonio Maffei, and he plays guard. I worry about his weight a little bit, but he is a big kid, and he is a road grading type offensive guard. But I would like him to get down to a little bit closer to 320 if I could.
Mm-hmm.
I think 350 is a little heavy for a guard, but a good player anyway. UCLA runs the ball. He does a good job road grading.
Yeah.
My second guy is Spencer Anderson from Maryland.
Okay.
A 6'5", 330-pound kid, another big kid. And my number 1 is Ricky Stromberg from Arkansas. I like Stromberg a lot. I think he's going to turn out to be a really nice player for somebody. And you're probably going to get him in like the 4th round. I think it's going to be really steal in the 4th round to get a player that's good. That has nothing but improve every year since he's been in college football. So,
no, 100%. I agree with that. I'm gonna give my guy. First and foremost, I wanted to give the guy before I get to my top sleeper guy. But one of them was Jared Patterson. I kind of already mentioned him. I was actually surprised you had him in your top five because I felt like people were not giving him enough credit. Which why I put him as my sleeper instead of my top five because I really like him, and I know you're a Notre Dame fan. So I'm not gonna say you put him up there because you're a Notre Dame fan. You did get to watch him a little bit more than most people. So, what do you think about him being in my sleeper spot?
I like him as one of the top interior linemen. I think that where he gets a little bit more of a higher grade for me is because I know he can play center and guard.
Yeah,
and that's a versatile kid. Like you could take a guy like that and put him on your roster right away, and back up in two positions right away. And I think he's a better athlete than people think he is.
Mm-hmm.
And he did have some injuries the last year or two. He's been banged up a little bit, but I think he's a nice player. I would love for but the right team has to take him. He's another way. You want him. He's a mover. Definitely. You want him to play in a run first offense, and I know it's in the NFL. You have hardly any of them teams, but I think that's why Jared Patterson could be really a valuable player because he could probably play center and guard for you. So
and speaking of center and guard, my forefront sleeper is the reason why I got him because he both center and guard, and it is Alex Forsyth from Oregon. I think I said his last name right this time.
You did.
Nice. I was working on it. As Forsyth, I think he's a very versatile guy. He was 6'4", 303 pounds, 32-inch arms, 32 3/4 inch arms. So again, as you see, most guards are gonna have that 32, 33-inch arms range. So I think he can play both of them. He started at center. He played mostly guard the last 2 years, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Very, very smart player. I think I really like him. He got some athletic ability on him. I know people are kind of worried about his balance a little bit. I think that you can kind of combat that if you have him starting at center. Honestly. But what do you think, Ray?
I'm a fan of Forsyth. I mean, I don't know if it's balanced as much as he kind of lunges every once in a while. Mm-hmm. Well, missed blocks is because he tries to get out there a little bit too quickly. I think maybe center will probably be a better position for him than guard.
Yeah. I mean, he's athletic though. He can move.
So, yeah, he's a nice player. I think that sometimes when he thinks guys are stronger than him, he'll learn to try to get inside, get his hands on him right away. Mm-hmm. And that's really, I would rather he let the guys come. Don't get me wrong, you're an offensive lineman. You want to get your hands on them as quick as you can and move them one way or the other. But don't lunge, especially with guys that are bigger than you. Because if you do that, you're going to put somebody in a bad spot next to you. So,
Definitely. No, I agree with that. All right, let's get to our next topic. It's going to be the small school guys. So these are guys that go to small school, have some success in the NFL. But, we want to kind of put some light on them because they are small school guys. So they probably don't get enough recognition or you probably never heard of them. So, Ray, I'm going to let you start off. What you got here?
Okay, well, I have this name is tough. Hoafitu Maka from UTSA.
All right.
6'3", 335 pounds. He is a kid that's going to be a borderline draftable player. If he does get taken, he'll be taken in the 7th round probably somewhere. But again, a big kid, a road grading type of interior lineman. Played center in college, but I think he'd be better off leaving in center. But because of his size, if he plays, you don't want to ask him to do too much pass protection from inside there, though.
Yeah.
You want him to get his hands on guys and move them out of his way. So if you're going to play him at center, you absolutely, like on a team like Baltimore or even Chicago, teams that want to run the ball, a team like that, even Miami, I guess. I would rather my center was a little bit quicker than he is, but I like him. I think what you'll see is he'll be a good solid backup somewhere.
Correct. No, I agree, and I agree with that definitely for
And
sure.
the other guy is Mark Evans from Arkansas Pine Bluff. Again, another seventh rounder type of a guy. A better athlete than Maki, though. So
Definitely. All right, cool. My guy is a guy with a first name as a last name and a last name as a first name. We got to meet him at the Senior Bowl. Really good kid out of Chattanooga, Mr. McClendon Curtis. I thought it was very fascinating that he got a last name as a first name and a first name as a last name. But that is the guy. He's a school kid. Like I said, we got to interview him at the Senior Bowl. He's going to play guard. I think he's going to play guard because he kind of lacks in pass protection. But he did play tackle in college. He played all three positions at college, actually. But I think he's a good kid. If you can, he's a kind of developmental guy, obviously, but can move. He got some good blocking on him. I can see him improving each day at the Senior Bowl, which is a good thing. That's always kind of what you want to see when you're a smaller school kind of guy going against, these guys are at Power 5 schools and things like that. You always want to see them progress, against bigger talent or, bigger school talent rather. So he held his own there. I'm not gonna say like he's the perfect guy. He's still gonna get some developmentals in the NFL. You get him on like the Eagles with just Scoutland and really develop him. He'd be a good asset for the Eagles. Big guy. He got 35-inch arms, so he got long arms. Even though he's gonna most likely play him at guard, but you develop him, he can probably play, right? What do you think about him?
good player. I like him a lot, actually. I think that, like you said, I think you get the right coach behind him, and you'll find something there for sure. So.
Yeah, I mean, I always love this. Is the thing about like the draft or whatever. We was trying to look for that guy that you just go in and plug in, and he's just gonna be awesome. And it's not always like that. And this was I think there's a lot of reason why a lot of the first round picks, success rate is so low because we expect them to just jump in and be ready to go and this and that. When some of these guys just kind of need to sit, get some good coaching behind them, allow them to develop their skills, and I think he's the perfect guy to do that with.
I also think where teams make their mistake is like if you have early picks, that means you're a bad team.
Correct.
So these picks are not going to come in here and change your team, your program right away. So you gotta let them, like you said, you gotta let them develop, see what they're going to turn into. Don't put too much pressure on them, man. Like that's like guys put enough pressure on themselves.
Correct.
You don't need pressure from the outside.
Correct.
I would tell I as a fan of football, I get a little annoyed when I hear players talk about like outside noise, but I agree with it. Like I'm not saying that you shouldn't hear. You can hear it, but don't listen. You know what I mean? Like it's okay to take constructive criticism and turn it into a positive, but don't let it beat you down where it takes your confidence away from you.
Correct. No, I agree. I agree with that. Well, that's going to do it for us today with our offensive lineman talk, Ray. We're going to let Ray get his Ray rants in. So, Ray, let's get to your favorite segment, the Ray rants. Let's go.
Well, I'm just going to make it really simple. I listen to a lot of different draft analysis now, of course, because that's this time of year. And, when Miami drafted Mike Gesicki instead of Dallas Goedert, I was very upset.
Mm-hmm.
don't get me wrong, I like Gesicki. He's a Penn State kid, good player, good athlete. But basically, he's a glorified slot receiver is what he is. He's not a tight end.
Yeah.
Okay. I remember, I think said this before, where I told somebody that Mark Andrews would be a better all-around tight end than Mike Gesicki. And the person I said to kind of chuckled at me and laughed at me. He's not laughing anymore, I don't think. But anyway, I see on draft boards now the teams are doing it again. If you draft Dalton Kincaid before Michael Mayer, you are an idiot, okay? And don't deserve to be on the draft board.
That hurt a little bit. But I'll let it go. No, I know.
You tell me
I agree.
you want a tight end that is going to be a move guy, that's fine. Take a Mike Gesicki. Take a Dalton Kincaid. That's fine. Don't take him and then complain they can't block for 3 years though, like Miami did, and then finally just let him go for nothing.
Yeah. Listen, I agree though. I agree with you what you're saying completely.
I mean,
I think people are gonna start looking at Mike Myers 40 time and like, he's a little too slow. But he's not slow. He's just not fast. Like he's not like a blazing tight end.
You know what,
guy,
man? Jerry Rice got 40 times as a 4.69, a 4.71. Okay. Jarvis Landry, 4.71. Do they look slow when they're on the football field? Okay. So if you're not the fastest guy, how you make up for that is by running good routes, by being quicker out of your breaks, by doing the little subtle things that great players do or good players do, however you want to term it. I mean, we've had to talk about Chad Johnson. Chad Johnson couldn't run a pass route to save his life. Okay? Like, I don't understand. Like, if I'm drafting a player, I'm drafting the best player available, not the guy that I think is the most athletic.
No, I agree, Ray, for sure. So yeah, I agree. So let me get into my little quick rant. It's not really a rant. Kind of is, kind of not.
Come on, you can call it a rant, dude. Go ahead.
All right, it's a rant. It's a rant.
Go ahead.
Very, very heartbreaking news this week for us Eagles fans. Losing out on Garner Johnson Jr. Garner. See, I can't even say his name anymore. That's just how distraught about him leaving. And I think it's a little bit more than just seeing him leave, because I feel like I was at a pretty good point when we re-signed Bradbury, we re-signed Slay. You know, when we got those guys back, kind of like, all right, if you're not gonna get C.J. Garner Johnson back, at least we got, you know, Slay back, and we got, you know, Bradbury back to kind of ease the pain a little bit, get guys back. We're not losing the whole band, we're losing some of the band. But it hurt more to see that he got a 1 year, $8 million deal. And I'm like, CJ, I know the Eagles offer you more than that, but you had to be greedy. You had to be greedy, because I know for a fact that he was the Eagles' number one, you know, priority going into this offseason. And part of the reason why they was willing to let Darius Slay leave, and part of the reason why, you know, Bradbury didn't go to another spot, because, you know, they was really hoping that C.J. Garner Johnson was coming back, and then they was going to try to work things out, you know, after that. It didn't happen that way. I heard he was asking for $16 million a year, which is very steep. I know the Eagles cannot do that. But I'm pretty sure they was offering him more than $8. And, you know, the market was not there for him. By the time the Eagles kind of moved on, it was like, hey, man, you're not giving us an answer. We got to do something. So they went along the way, started re-signing people, started signing some free agents, things like that. I guess CJ Garner Johnson was like, hey, what about me again? And Eagles was like, I'm sorry, we can't afford you anymore. Like, we gave you the opportunity. We really can't afford you anymore now. So they moved on. CJ Garner Johnson is going to the Lions. And, you know, I think that's going to be a really good squad. And, you know, I'm very excited for their defense. But, man, 1 year, $8 million, I would have took that for the Eagles, man. That would hurt. That hurt. But, hey, man, I have a lot of confidence still in my team. Like I said, you know, we got Slay back, we got, you know, Bradbury back. That made me feel a lot better going to this offseason, seeing that we got some of our guys back. And, you know, obviously we still got Jalen Hurts. We still got a really good offense. I'm still very confident in this team. Obviously, it's going to be some bumps and bruises with the defense, but we'll see. We'll see. You know, Kyle Roseman is a master. He got C.J. Garner Johnson late after the draft last year, so we see what we do this year. I'm still holding out hope. Go ahead, Ray. I feel like something's like you're just holding back.
I'm not going to say nothing, man.
Go ahead. The people want to hear it. The people want to hear it, right, guys?
No, you don't want to hear what I have to say. You
I
know,
want to hear it.
You really don't. I
Right.
hate Howard Roseman. That's all. I'm going to leave it at that.
Okay.
I'm not saying he doesn't do a good job. He does an okay job. He's fine.
All right. Well, maybe we can talk about it after this. But
yeah, we'll talk about Howie Roseman later. Yeah.
All right. All right. Well, that's gonna do it for us today, guys. Thank you guys for being out with us. As always, make sure you go hit like and subscribe button and hit our YouTube, our Instagram, our Facebook, Inside the Hashers. We've done some great stuff over there. Doing a lot of 7-on-7 camps right now. You know, off season, you get a lot of 7-on-7 camp. We preparing for the draft, things like that. So definitely check us out. Make sure you hit that QR code right over there, right where Ray is. Go ahead, Ray. Come on.
Yeah, I have a hard time.
There you go. Oh, okay. Hit that QR code. That's going to be able to get you all our access to all our social media, especially that YouTube channel. So make sure you go on that YouTube channel where we're live right now. And I know a lot of people can't watch live all the time. I understand. But if you go over there, like and subscribe, hit the notification bell, you will know when we do go live. And you can put a comment under our comment section so we can comment back on it at any time. So we love to do that for you guys. And next week, make sure you tune in because we'll be talking about wide receivers. I know offensive linemen not the sexiest. We've been talking about them the last 2 days, but we're going to be talking about the wide receivers next week. And then the previous week after that, we'll be doing another mock draft. So make sure you go check us out on YouTube. Make sure you like and subscribe and hit that notification button so you know when we are live on there. So that's going to do it for us today, guys. Thank you so much. Shorter episode, you know, we usually go to like an hour, but you know, I know you guys are not really in tune with the offensive lineman. It's okay, I understand. But that's gonna do it for us today, guys. I'm your humble host, Jerome Jones. This is Ray Roberts. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.